In the headlines, NLC threatens indefinite strike action over fuel subsidy removal. House committee grills security chiefs over Nigeria's border security. Man calls for help following kidnapping of his wife and children. Also in the news, India's Kerala closes schools, banks in several villages after Nipah virus deaths. Hello there, good afternoon and welcome to the news update on Trust TV. I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. We begin in Abuja, where a week after its two-day nationwide warning strike action, the organized labor has threatened to begin an indefinite strike action if the federal government fails to meet its demand. The Nigeria Labour Congress has given a 21-day ultimatum which will expire in a week's time. Now, the workers' union says the proposed strike action was necessary following the failure of the federal government to provide palliatives to assuage the Nigerian hardship because of the fuel subsidy removal. The Nigeria Labour Congress says the industrial action, which may commence any day from next week, would lead to an indefinite shutdown of commercial and economic activities across the country. NLC Assistant General Secretary Christopher Onyeka told the reporters that the federal government was wrong to share a bag of rice to a dozen citizens while reportedly giving hundreds of millions of naira to members of the National Assembly. Among other demands, the NLC and the Trade Union Congress were asking for include wage awards, implementation of palliatives, tax exemptions and allowances to the public sector workers, and a review of the current minimum wage. Though the federal government made a commitment to restructure the framework for engagement with the organized labor on palliatives, the 8-week time frame set for the conclusion of the process expired in the month of August with no action taken so far. Staying in Abuja, to the National Assembly now, where the chairman of the House of Representatives Ad Hoc Committee on International Boundary Dispute between Nigeria and Cameroon, Honorable Benny Lar, says the House is concerned about the state of agencies or security agencies on the nation's borders. Lar said this at the ongoing investigative hearing on the boundary dispute between Nigeria and Cameroon on Tuesday in Abuja. Here's the report.
Following complaints by Nigerians living at the borders between Nigeria and Cameroon and the hardship encountered due to incessant incursion into the nation's territory by terrorists from neighboring Cameroon over disputed territories, members of the House Ad Hoc Committee began investigation to get an insight into the matter. The chairman of the committee says the hearing has become imperative since the communities in contention are Nigerians and the peoples are Nigerians. She says it is important to understand the role of paramilitary and the military in ensuring the protection of Nigerian citizens in the disputed area in line with the ruling of the International Court of Justice as it concerns the disputed territory.
A series of lingering boundary hotspots across the Nigerian-Cameroon boundaries, which stretches up from the Lake Chad region down to the Cross River estuary. We recall that we did the first phase of this interactive session for the Danare-Biajua axis, following which the committee visited Danare communities in Cross River State and held a public hearing in Cross River State to investigate and find the facts for us. On that visit, we met with the executive governor and all the relevant stakeholders in Cross River.
The Director General of the Nigerian Boundary Commission, Adamu Adaji, in his submissions, blamed this disagreement in the disputed territories to lack of understanding of international laws by members of the affected community.
When we were addressing the boundary, we had to come to take over some communities of Cameroon that fell on the Nigerian side. We have part of Guria, Mokoge, Yende, Rumzu villages that were now relinquished by Cameroon because they were found to be on the Nigerian side. So if there's any Nigerian territory that is now falling on the Cameroon side, we do the same
point of the judgment. But along the line, when they came to Romske, whether you are aware, Attorney General, or you're not aware, when they came to place beacons in Rumske, which Nigeria gained from Cameroon, which is a tourist center, a mixed commission that the watershed is missing. I'm quoting because I was on the field with the staff, former director of National.
Members of the committee were also satisfied with the response of the Commission and the Attorney General's office as they suggested alternative means to resolving the dispute.
There seems to be maybe some doubt in the judgment, because if you are using a watershed here and then you are coming and saying these people came down from the valley and now you are using the valley.
We should try to be as patriotic as we can. Whether you are affected today or you're not affected by your decisions today. The thing that is lacking, the very basic ingredient that is lacking in this country is patriotism.
Present at the hearing at the Army, Air Force, Navy, NSCDC, Customs, Immigration and DSS. The committee is expected to submit its report to the House for further legislative action.
Now, the kidnapping scourge in Nigeria is continuing to eat many families across the country as a mother and her two daughters were reportedly kidnapped around Galadima district of the Federal Capital Territory. Now, the husband, a staff member of the Nigeria Nuclear Regulatory Authority, says the incident occurred when his wife and his two daughters were driving back home. After alerting the police on the development, efforts were made to track down the kidnappers without much success. According to him, the kidnappers have already made contact with the family, demanding a 100 million naira ransom to release the mother and her two daughters. Operatives of the Imo State Police Command say that they have apprehended 6 security personnel attached to the Operation Search and Flush security formation of the state government over alleged extortion of members of the public. Trust TV's Ajibade Awofesho has more on the story.
Parading the suspect at the police command, the Commissioner of Police, Ahmed Barde, said the command under his watch has continued to maintain zero tolerance for corrupt practices and will stop at nothing to ensure the officers found in the act are shown the way out of the force. The arrested personnel include 3 National Drug Law Enforcement Agency (NDLEA) officers, 2 Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps (NSCDC) officers, and 1 inspector of the Nigerian Police Force. The 6 were arrested at the checkpoint where they were caught arresting and extorting money from innocent members of the public.
We have to investigate. Secondly, there's something we call Odlum trial, and whatever is the outcome, we'll let you know. Well, we have 3 NDLEA. We have 2 civil defense members. Then we have 1 policeman, making a total of 6 in that patrol team. Nobody should subject yourself to them. When they tell you bring, tell them they should take you to the head of the formation. Yes.
One of the arrested officers, while admitting the unethical activities of his group, said he had once called the control room to complain about the activities of his colleagues, adding that he hopes to be vindicated.
So I'm not an accomplice to whatever substandard work they are doing here.
Also, what did you report to the
I reported the issue of searching of phone and extortion to the police. Control room, the call is recorded on my phone.
Some of the victims narrated their ordeals in the hands of the arrested men who go about inflicting pains on innocent residents, especially youths of the state. According to them, the officers often tag them Yahoo boys and go as far as searching their phones, seize their belongings, and force them to withdraw huge sum of money from their accounts.
So after he said if I don't cooperate with him, that once I'm out of that place, that there is no more. So I said, okay, in that case, what can I do? He said I should pay 10 million. I told him I don't have such a money.
So the total money they took it was about 0.02 BTC, which was about 466,000 naira.
With the arrest and prosecution of these ones, it is hoped that other personnel in the state will desist from the criminal act. Ajibade Awofeso, Trust TV News, Owerri.
And in Kaduna, the Christian Association of Nigeria says several churches in the state have been forced to shut down due to the activities of bandits. The association's chairman in the state, Reverend Joseph Hayab, stated this on Tuesday during a meeting with the State Police Commissioner with pastors across the state. The pastors at the meeting described the attacks on churches by criminals as worrisome, calling on security agencies to do the needful to curb the situation.
In recent times, attacks on worship places have been recorded in the state, in Ikara and Zangwankataf local government areas. This meeting between Kaduna State Commissioner of Police and the Christian Association of Nigeria is summoned to discuss ways of tackling the security challenges bedeviling the church. Addressing the clerics, Kaduna State Commissioner of Police Musa Garba assured the pastors of the readiness of the police to curb insecurity in the state.
Please, I want to assure you that police in Kaduna are committed to protection of life and property, which is one of our primary aims and objectives. We are committed to that, irrespective of tribe or religion.
He said intelligence gathering is key in the fight against crime, noting that the police can only achieve results with the cooperation of the pastors.
We cannot do it alone without you. I want to tell you that you are a very, very important, integral part of our work. Without you, we cannot achieve anything. Please give us information.
The chairman Christian Association of Nigeria, Kaduna State, Reverend Joseph Hayab, said the initiative will help build synergy towards tackling the menace in the region.
What we've always believed is that security job is for everybody. We want to be part of what we can do or contribute our quota for the peace of Kaduna State. Unfortunately, in the past, this system of engagement was put behind, and so instead of getting people's view and hearing from people what are their concerns, what we see coming from media is accusation. You can see that the questions that the people asked, they were asking with pains, with concern, because this is the everyday reality that they are facing. We believe that going forward, it will not be long, the story of Kaduna will change from a city that has been under siege to a city that is experiencing peace, unity, and tranquility.
The meeting came few days after the suspected bandit set ablaze and killed a seminarian at the Catholic Church parish at Kamantan in Zangwankataf local government area. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Now, Nigerians are calling on the recently inaugurated ministers to make meaningful contributions that will help address the nation's current economic situation as members of the Federal Executive Council. Trust Babatunde has more on the story.
The hope of Nigerians have continually been raised from one administration to another, with politicians promising to improve the state of the nation and with very little to show for it. Some Nigerians have explained that despite these promises, the expectations have not been met. To this end, they called on the new ministers to perform diligently in their responsibilities so as to meet up with expectations.
The extent of performance by the new ministers depend on the leverage given and the latitude provided by their principal, who is the President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. So if they have the latitude to make use of their initiative, their experiences, and their capability, of course they are going to perform.
If you take the history from where we are coming from, the previous ministers, we can say that to a large extent they were able to deliver on their mandates from different aspects. But for the new ones coming in, we have people who had excelled in their various careers For instance, we have those who have worked as governors, and that makes them excellent administrators, which is what we require.
Other concerned stakeholders called upon his cabinet to ensure the highest level of productivity in service towards improved development and citizens' welfare. Trust Babatunde, Trust TV News, Abuja.
All right, to Borno State now, where Governor Babagana Zulum has commissioned 70 new luxurious buses to ease movement of civil servants and members of the public across the state. Unveiling the metro buses at Borno Express Terminus in Maiduguri, the state capital, the governor says the second phase of the intervention is to alleviate the sufferings of commuters occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy. The new buses, specially acquired for this particular purpose, comprise of standard-sized buses and larger buses to accommodate a greater number of passengers across the state. Governor Zulum noted that this second phase of the intervention in the transport sector is to alleviate sufferings occasioned by the removal of fuel subsidy in the state.
I want you to maintain this very important point and ensure that you bring down the cost of transportation. The cardinal objective of establishing the mass transit program is to reduce the hardship of the community.
You're watching the news update on Trust TV. Coming up ahead after the break, we'll tell you why students of the College of in Sokoto State have a reason to smile. Details on this and many others coming up ahead after the break.
Welcome to Trust TV, where we document the Nigerian story. Our programming showcases the rich culture and diversity of Nigeria. We strive to amplify the voices that make our nation unique. Our programming is designed to take you on a journey through the different tastes of entertainment in our country. We showcase the best of Nigerian culture, from traditional craft to cutting-edge technology. Our team of expert journalists are dedicated to unveiling the intricacies of our culture and telling the untold stories that binds us all. And let's not forget the food. Nigeria has diverse and flavorful cuisines, some of the favorites to millions across the world. What is Nigeria without its people, their passions and their talent? Trust TV is not just a channel, it's a platform that brings you closer to everything that makes Nigeria great. Trust TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thank you very much for staying with us on the news update. Here's a quick reminder of our top stories at this hour. NLC threatens indefinite strike over fuel subsidy removal and negotiations with the federal government. House committee questions security chiefs over security border. Now, education administrators advocating for more vocational skill sets to complement theoretical knowledge in Nigeria's education system as a balancing act that is necessary for success. Now, this will enable the system to meet up with growing and the ever-changing global standards. Habibat Ajayi has more.
As stakeholders meet for the 2021-2022 Annual Education Conference to provide solutions to challenges in the sector, the need for the implementation of sustainable development have been identified as crucial. They also called for a review of funding for the sector and advocated public-private partnership to fund education.
Not only that you have the certificate, before you finish your polytechnic education, either OND or HND level, there's also another certificate that has to do with skill. That is because they are talking about skill acquisition and knowledge. So you are also going to have a certificate as a professional in your own field.
The Minister of State Education, Yusuf Tanko, assured Nigerians that the current administration is doing everything possible to uplift the education sector.
The outcome of your deliberation shall be forwarded to the Roadmap Committee for Consideration and Inclusion into Nigerian Education Sector Strategic Plan. I sincerely look forward to the implementation of the outcome of this conference, as well as I plan to host the 2023 Nigerian Annual Education Conference.
Stakeholders believe that all hands must be on deck to safeguard the integrity of tests by examination bodies in Nigeria, as this impacts the generality of educational advancement in the country. Abibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Now, the contractor handling the total rehabilitation of Dikko College in Katsina has handed over 20 renovated classrooms at the famous Katsina College to the school authority for academic activities. Now, the contract awarded by the Central Bank of Nigeria since 2020 took longer than expected, disrupting academic activities at the school. Abdullahi Yamadi tells us more.
After about 3 years delay, the contractor has now handed over only 20 classes to the school for students' use, which is far below the expectation of many stakeholders. Even with the 20 renovated classrooms, the students will continue academic activities without laboratories, computer center, workshops, dining hall, and other facilities which are uncompleted. Emma of Katsina Abdulmumini Kabir Usman, who is an old student of the college, called for the immediate completion of the project for the continuation of full academic activities. This great institution is very important to Katsina residents. I sincerely appreciate the government of the former President Muhammadu Buhari for awarding this contract. As we are taking over some completed structures today, I want to appeal for immediate completion of the remaining ones. For the school authority and the students, please make proper utilization of these structures. The Katsina State government and other old students who are concerned about the snail speed at which the project is moving call on the contractor to hasten completion.
We did not allow the students just to go to the classes freely without giving them some rules and regulations, knowing that if there are any measures to be taken, it's easy for the student to spoil those items that are installed in the classes. I'm highly pleased to see things are taking shape beyond expectation, more especially this intervention with the CBN. Before, we used to have only 2 technical departments, woodwork and metalwork. Now we are going to have 5, automobile, electronics, woodwork and metalwork, and technical drawing. So you can see things are changing greatly.
Though part of the initial contracts, 25 classes, assembly hall, and administrative block, among many other facilities, are yet to be renovated. Abdullahi Ismayamadi, Trust Television News, Katsina.
On the international scene, authorities have closed down some schools and offices and declared more than 7 villages as the containment zones in the southern state of Kerala after it recorded 2 deaths from the rare and deadly brain-damaging Nipah virus. An adult and a child are still infected in a hospital, and more than 130 people have so far been tested for the virus, which is transmitted to humans through direct contact with bodily fluids of infected bats, pigs, or other people. 2 infected people have died since August 30 in the state's 4th outbreak of the virus since 2018, forcing authorities to declare containment zones in at least 7 villages across the district. Now, strict isolation rules were adopted, with medical staff being quarantined after direct contact with the infected. And in sports, the WWE and UFC have completed a £17.3 billion merger and launched under a new name, TKO. UFC owners Endeavor Group Holdings controls 51% of the new public traded company, TKO Group Holdings, while the WWE shareholders have 49%. The business is led by Endeavor's chief executive, Ari Emanuel. Dana White has become the UFC's new CEO, and Vince McMahon has been appointed as TKO's executive chairman. In a statement to announce the completion of the merger, TKO said, quote, TKO brings together UFC, the world's premier mixed martial arts organization, and the WWE, an integrated media organization, and the recognized global leaders in sports entertainment to create a new premium sports and entertainment company serving more than 1 billion young and diverse fans, reaching viewers in 180 countries and producing more than 350 annual live events. Vince McMahon, whose January return to the WWE board followed his 2022 retirement amid misconduct claims, added, quote, this is the culmination of a decades-long partnership with Endeavor and WWE across strategic initiatives, including talent representation and media rights. WWE has a global reach and fan base. The company had more than 16 billion social media videos and views in the final quarter of last year. It has nearly 94 million YouTube subscribers and has more than 20 million followers on TikTok. Well, that's it. You're up to date with the latest news stories at this hour. Thank you most kindly for joining us. As always, follow us across our social media platform for more content and trusttv.com for more news. My name is Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.